Jeremy Vine there with all the figures and analysis for you.
Now, let's talk more figures in terms of the housing market. Simon says perhaps it might once and for all not be doom and gloom.
Yeah, well, we're trying to get to the bottom of exactly what's going on in the housing market, because after months of house price falls, both figures from both the Nationwide and the Halifax last week showed that prices actually rose last month. So what can we take from these figures? Is the housing market finally recovering, or is this just a blip? One estate agent, no surprises here perhaps, thinks that it's a good time to get a foot on the ladder, despite the mixed messages we're getting from the media.
There are a lot of conflicting reports talking about the market being up in one case or down. It's up to the individual to see where they are in their area, but generally speaking, with interest rates being as low as they are, now has got to be a good time to buy, because the interest rates will not be as low as this again for the foreseeable future.
Well, Jeremy Leaf is a housing spokesperson for the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors. He joins me now. Jeremy, simple question, is the worst over?
Well, certainly the figures are much better than we would have expected. They're much better than they've been for a while. It's showing the market is quite resilient and demand is certainly back. But always behind the headlines, there's some concerns, because overall lending is down, and we're not seeing the sustainable recovery quite yet that would lead us to have a little bit more confidence, perhaps.
Isn't there loads of pent-up demand there? I mean, there's a figure, something like 250,000 new households are made every year, and only 80,000 new houses are being built. So we do have a supply shortage, don't we?
Well, of course, recessions don't take demand away. We're still making and breaking relationships. There's debt, people moving for school reasons, neighbours, all sorts of reasons. So there is this demand, and it's a question of making sure that translate actually into sales. OK.
And what, if anything, can be done? I mean, is this a problem, or should we just leave it well alone and let it find its natural level?
It is a big problem, because housing is such a big part, such an important part of the overall economy. There's thousands of people who are directly employed in the market and indirectly employed in the market. And it's very important for the economy overall that housing gets going.
Now, where will we see things possible? What will it take to convince the likes of you and other people that we have actually seen a turn?
Well, what we'd like to see is a certain mortgage levels. I mean, even prices. Don't forget, they've only gone up 3 times in the last 21 months. We want to see more sustainable recovery there. We want to see mortgage levels virtually double what they are now, because that's more typical of what we call a normal market. And, of course, unemployment levels and repossessions we want to see levelling out.
Now, we're a pretty optimistic bunch, and I was talking to another person in the property market and said that lots of people are optimistic. They might have lost their job but have got some redundancy pay, saying, I'm not going to sell the house, I'm going to hang in there for 3 to 6 months, maybe a year. If they don't get another job, could we see a whole new raft of houses coming onto the market when people are forced to sell?
Well, of course, that could happen. And if the market then, the good side of that is we'd have more choice, because some of the price increases is based on shortages. That would give more choice. But overall, it can't be good news. If people are losing their jobs and being made redundant, that cannot be good news, certainly for them, and certainly overall for the economy.
OK, and a bit of advice for anyone who's thinking about jumping in. You know, maybe they've got cold feet. What would you say to them?
Well, there has been some price bubbles and in localised markets, and other areas are not doing so well. So the advice must be to go out into your local market, see how it is there, and then make your decision based on good professional advice, of which there's much available. So
research your own market. It's not the same across the country?
Absolutely not. Very patchy.
OK, we'll be getting another perspective on that in an hour's time.